Welcome into the official Jets podcast.
I eat, breathe, and sleep the New York Jets, my team.
That is a tightrope walk across Niagara Falls. That's hard to do.
It's a game of inches, so finding that one little inch to be successful, it all matters.
The official Jets podcast is presented by Kendra Scott, the jewelry company that's shining bright and doing good. Shop game day ready jewelry styles and so much more at kendrascott.com.
Darren, thanks for joining us. Your first NFL League meetings down here in West Palm Beach. What's it been like since you were hired as GM of the Jets, January 25th to now March 30th as we tape?
It's been awesome. It's been really good, and I feel like it's been pretty seamless and I've acclimated really well. And I owe that. I got to credit that to a lot of the people that are around me in the building, starting with Dan Z, Rick Spielman, Robbie Payton, the whole pro department, like Ray, Evan, Murph, the whole crew, Whitty, Dom, those guys. I actually want to give credit to all these guys while we're here on the line because they really have helped me acclimate kind of seamlessly. Mary Jo, Ashley, Shields in the analytics department. I'm throwing them things all the time. They've been responsive. Jaime, Mastrodi, the whole crew has really made it seamless for me and allowed me to acclimate pretty well and feel really comfortable about the whole process.
Have you been running on adrenaline?
A bit. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. You hit the ground running, but it's been a lot of fun. And like I said, I've enjoyed doing it with the people around me. One other one, Nick Sabella, who's been awesome through the free agency process, working with him closely on a day-to-day basis. So it's been awesome.
You just mentioned free agency. When we look at the class, what was the overall philosophy heading in to the market?
Yeah, heading in, we wanted to address the quarterback position on each side of the ball. Obviously, we did that with Justin on the offensive side, and we're able to keep Jamie and Sherwood in the building on the defensive side, as the green dot player and Mike Backer. So that was one of our priorities going into it, and then address some holes in the secondary, but also do it with an emphasis on keeping the team young with youth, second contract players, kind of stay out of the aging, maybe top of the market players, and then supplement and just fill in the spots with some good value signings throughout the process.
Yeah, we'll get to the youth here in a second. At what point, when you guys were going through your internal meetings, did it become clear that, hey, listen, we can't let Sherwood hit the market. He's going to be a priority?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I even took the job, just watching from the outside, watching Sherwood play, seeing this player that kind of hit the scene, got his opportunity and made the most of it, right? Was still a young player, but made a ton of plays. He's long, he's athletic, he can run. So I was really encouraged and intrigued coming into the job. Then once I got in the building and had a lot of conversations internally with different staff, coaches, players, it was rave reviews about the person and the player. So made it easy. I tried early to get on Drew and get something done and was always in there, but at that point he was going to hit free agency. And he deserved that, but we're glad to keep him and glad he's on the team.
Yeah, but how did you guys make it happen? Because a lot of young dudes might be like, hey, I like you guys, and I think I like the direction the organization is going to go in, but I'm going to test the market.
No, and that's fair, and he deserved that at that point getting there. But we had a lot of good conversations with Jamie and throughout the process. He's passionate about the Jets and this team and some of his teammates here. He got to know the current staff, so I think it was a win-win for both.
How about that being advantageous that here's a guy that you had an opportunity to actually talk to before free agency, and did he hit it off with the coaching staff from the get?
It's a big advantage when you have your own that you kind of prioritize and want to sign, and that's what we want to do, right? You want to draft, develop, and sign your own. That's ideal because when you get into this free agency market, you never really know what you're getting. We do a lot of research. We talk to a lot of people. We try and gather as much medical information, but you don't know really what you're getting. But when you have these guys in your building and you know them intimately, you have people that know them as people and players, and you have all the medical information, you feel a lot better about that. And that was the case with Jamie, no doubt.
All right, so you get Sherwood done. And then can you talk about Justin Fields? Can you talk about, the preparation heading into free agency and why you thought Fields was going to be a good fit?
Yeah, so obviously we'll evaluate the whole quarterback market, free agency, draft. You're looking at the whole big picture, and Justin was a guy that kind of stuck out. Young, talented player, has a unique athletic skill set that's hard to defend. Again, doing research, talking to people, was someone that is a professional, good person, has some leadership qualities, still young. And we were excited about Justin. Glad we got him. Believe in Justin. Believe we can win with Justin playing quarterback.
How has he changed as a signal caller since the guy that you were scouting 2021 when he's coming out?
I mean, just experience in the league. Now, I can't speak to his unique situations in Chicago and Pittsburgh and those things, but I just know the makeup of the person and the player, and we're excited to get him in the building here and have him kind of lead that quarterback room.
So he'll have the opportunity to be QB1 here. When you look at the league, do you look at some other guys who've had better outcomes their second times around or third times around and look at Fields and say, okay, he's been with two teams, but he's still an ascending player?
Absolutely. You've seen that, more recently around the league with the Baker Mayfields, the Sam Darnolds. You see different stories of guys maybe they just need to change the scenery, some different pieces around, some consistency, and we believe that can be the case with Justin as well.
How unique is his skill set? You're talking about a guy who rushed for more than 1,000 yards a couple years ago with the Bears. He's averaged more than 50 yards per game on the ground. But when you look at Fields, he's really become more of an accomplished passer throughout his tenure in the league, including last year, putting up career-high numbers for the Steelers.
Yeah, exactly. You said as of late, too. And just to see the progression as a quarterback, from playing the quarterback position and his numbers, and going 4-2 last year as a starter in Pittsburgh, and you've just seen those passing numbers increase. So really with any position, the more reps you get, the better you should be getting, right? So we've seen that, and that's a positive thing for Justin.
Oh, what did Tanner say in terms of the process of that, hey, we're going to be getting a guy who's a little bit different than Jerry Goff?
Yeah, but that's no different with any position, right? With all the players we get and bring in the building, we want to know what their strengths and weaknesses may be. Just put them in positions to have success, put people around them to have success, and play to all players' strengths. It's no different with Justin.
So now, overall thoughts on the quarterback group as we sit here today, a few weeks out from the draft?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we're excited with the guys we have in the room. Another guy we didn't really talk about is Tyrod Taylor. Being in the room with Justin is huge. We all know he's a pro's pro. He knows what it takes to prep and be prepared to play in the NFL. I think that's going to be a great help to Justin as well. And then the landscape going into the draft, we'll evaluate every player in the draft. From the centers to the long snappers to the quarterbacks. We put all these guys under a microscope. We have at-length discussions about them and place them appropriately, and that's no different for the quarterback position.
I'm glad you mentioned Tyrod. Do you like the match there? Because Tyrod, throughout his career, he's been a dual threat as well.
Yeah, no, I love the match, really, because Tyrod's such a professional, and he's been around the league. He's seen a lot. He's a smart football player. He's a smart quarterback. He knows what it takes, and to have that person in the room with Justin is good for both and good for Justin. And I believe they've had a pre-existing relationship, too, where they've trained in the offseason together down in Atlanta.
You mentioned the secondary before. Brandon Stevens, he signed. Also, you had Andre Cisco. Can you speak to those guys, and not only them as players, but also what you have here on the coaching staff and guys like Chris Harris and Dre Bly, Steve Wilkes,
right.
The defensive coordinator, has worked a lot throughout his career with the defensive backs, and then your head coach
absolutely.
Was a great cornerback himself.
Talking about those defensive backs, those two players in particular, we felt like they fit the profile of what we're looking for, both athletic profile and skill set. Talking with Brandon Stevens, he's long, he's athletic, he can play physical press man, he can run with speed, something we really were looking for, and he kind of attracted us to him. You mentioned it. AG's played the position. He's going to help Brandon. You get back to the secondary. The safeties in AG's systems have played well. Cisco was another guy, athletic profile, fit what we're looking for. And really getting Isaiah Oliver back and Tony Adams as well. Isaiah Oliver's played for Wilkes. He's a long guy with versatility. We're excited to get him back. Tony Adams, you guys know the player well. So we're excited to get the whole group back.
Yeah. When you look at Cisco, why is he a good match for the Jets? Because throughout his career, you go back to Syracuse, this guy always was a ball hawk.
Yeah.
And a couple years ago with the Jacksonville Jaguars, all over the place in defensive secondary.
Exactly. I mean, high weight speed. He's got all those things. He's got ball skills. He's been productive in the league. And we think he's going to continue to excel here.
How about Stevens? You just mentioned before you like the size, speed combination, and the physicality.
And the schematic.
Yeah,
exactly.
Can you speak to that?
When you have him and Sauce outside now, you got two guys with size. Both can run. Both can play press man. Some things we might try and do. So he's a good fit.
The Official Jets podcast is presented by Kendra Scott, the jewelry company that's shining bright and doing good. Shop game day ready jewelry styles and so much more at kendrascott.com.
How about the defensive tackle position? And let's start with Derek Nottie.
Yeah.
And a guy in here who's south of 30, but he's got 3 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, exactly. He's been a part of a great program in the league, and another guy that has size, has played well. So we'll just add in depth and good players to the room.
Yeah, do you like what you did there in terms of you listen, this is going to be a very good defensive line class, and especially on the interior. You can go jump at defensive tackle in the draft if you want to. You have the flexibility as well, but you got some numbers.
We'll be open in the draft. We've got 8 picks. We like where we're picking. You said it. It's a really good D-line class from DT to DNs. There's a lot of depth there, so we're excited about that, and the possibilities there.
How about let's flip it to the offensive side of the ball on the line. Josh Myers comes in. You got a lot of starting experience, and also can you talk about Chooks Okorafor, who had a lot of starting experience with Pittsburgh?
Yeah, no, you said it with Josh Myers. Starting with Josh, he's a guy that's played a lot of football, played good football in this league, a lot of experience, and it never hurts to add good depth to the position and competition. He's going to come in, he's going to compete, he's going to give us good, reliable depth. A former teammate of Justin Fields, which just happened to be, the case. And then you said Chooks there. Chooks played a lot of football, in Pittsburgh. Didn't work out last year in New England, but still young, under 30, has played at the right tackle. So excited to add both those guys.
And that's something you're going to continue to hammer home here, right? Is as far as you want to fortify that offensive line. And you bring in those 2 pieces. I know a lot of people were thinking, okay, you sign Myers, that means maybe somebody's going to move, but that's not the way you're necessarily looking at it.
Not necessarily. We just want to add good football players to the team and add competition and good depth, and that's a great depth piece. Now, that does give you some flexibility as well. We know Tippmann's played right guard. We know Vertucker's played right tackle. That gives you some flexibility, but really the emphasis was adding competition to the room and good depth.
Speaking of the competition, wide receiver position, you got a young star in Garrett Wilson. What about a couple of pieces that you added? Obviously, Tyler Johnson, who played with the Rams last year, and then most recently, Josh Reynolds' system familiarity. You go back to Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. Josh Reynolds, their system familiarity.
And with you there in Denver.
Yeah. But he's been around AG, he's been around Tanner in Detroit. We had him last year in Denver, an experienced vet. It was a good add to the room. You said it. Garrett Wilson, he's a stud. So we feel good about that group, and like all these positions, we'll continue to look to add, whether that's in the offseason, different avenues, the draft, whatever it may be. But we'll always be looking to add good depth pieces and as much star power or firepower, I should say, as we can.
What about the tight end position? You had a former guy who played quarterback in Stone Smart, Tyler Johnson, as well. Hey, they followed you. In terms of starting as a quarterback and then playing
a little
receiver.
further than I got, but
as pass catchers.
No, but we're excited about Stone Smart, his athletic upside. There's still a lot of upside and growth there, and you said it, former quarterback, still learning the position, but athletic. So, and another position we'll continue to evaluate throughout this. This next step, really the draft. Those meetings starting next week, and then through the offseason, we'll always be looking to add.
How about overall philosophy when you look at the roster? Listen, you only have 5 guys who are 30 or more, and 3 of those are specialists in Thomas Hennessy, Greg Zerline, and your punter, Thomas Morstad. And you actually signed somebody in free agency as well, another punter, another leg. And the 4th guy in that mix would be Tyrod Taylor, who's your backup quarterback, and he's ageless. And then and then you got Reynolds as well. Yeah. You only have 5 guys north of 30.
No, we talked about it in the offseason, made an emphasis on it going into the free agency market that, hey, we did want to put an emphasis on staying young, second contract guys, continue the youth movement, and it worked out.
Can you speak to the way these contracts were formed? That you got 3 guys, I think, with multi-year deals, but also a lot of one-year deals.
Yeah.
So they'll have an opportunity to blossom under this coaching staff, under Aaron Glenn. But also from a team perspective, you guys are going to have some flexibility.
Yeah, it's always case by case when you go into free agency, whether you're doing multi-year deals or one-year deals. It wasn't necessarily an emphasis, but when you get into these players and you start negotiating, it just turns into case by case. But we're excited about all the players we added. We feel good about the contracts and the value, and we like where we're at heading into the draft.
How about draft preparation? You just mentioned a great transition right there. What's it been like for you, and what are you doing? Have you been able to go out on the road?
It's been good. I've been kind of going back and forth through free agency, I haven't got out much, but we got a lot of our coaches, all of our scouts are out. I'm really looking forward to getting back next week in the building. We'll have our scouts in and dive full into the draft prep, start those draft meetings, and we'll be bunkered in for the next 3 weeks leading up to the draft.
You and AG want to build a sustained winner here.
Absolutely.
How important, how critical is the draft?
It's very important. It's critical, like you said, and we feel good about our ability to do that. And we got 8 picks this year, and we'll start doing that.
You golf at all?
Not much, no.
No? Are you going to have a time?
No time, especially right now, no time.
Yeah. Moosh, really appreciate you stopping by.
Appreciate it. Thanks. It was awesome.